As you can see, Flex Zone family, Terpsville, we are gathered here today to put an end to the 2024 abysmal display by the Maryland Terps football team. 4-7, 1-7 in the Big Ten. And like the song says, I don't even know why we try anymore. And if it doesn't get any better than that, they end the season already eliminated from bowl contention with the trip to Happy Valley against Penn State, number 4 in the college football rankings, number 6 in the playoff rankings. Looking to get some impressive foul points for the committee, I'm sure, against Maryland, an inferior opponent. And for 12 weeks, Terps fans, I've given you everything I can. Given you the analysis, I've given you the breakdowns. I broke down every game, I previewed it, I recapped it, teased the victory. Obviously, I was wrong on all of them. Except maybe USC, which is their only Big Ten win. Stack that subscribe button, stick that like button. Sound off in the comment section. Helps us out tremendously. Leave a comment, leave your favorite emoji, leave your thoughts on the season, favorite moments, worst moments, favorite players, favorite plays. Where do they go from here? And how do you think this game's going to play out? Hit the bell to know all about Maryland content drops with your Maryland football, Maryland basketball, and Maryland recruiting, and anything else that encapsulates Terpsville and the Flex Zone family here on the Flex Zone podcast. And we appreciate you, everybody who has watched any second of my content this year. This has been my first season covering Maryland football, every game, before, after, during. Thank you, everybody. If you watched the video, if you watched it for 30 seconds, 30 minutes, I've gone these immense amount of minutes talking about this team that really just grinds your gears. It literally, you see, I have pulled my hair out. I've taken my hair out. And it's ironic that this video is being brought to you today. My hair is out. They literally made me pull my hair out, everyone. I've got on my all black. The funeral, the final burial of the Maryland Terps is going to commence on Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. in Happy Valley. It's over. I don't know what else you want me to say, Terps fans. I don't know what else you want me to say, Terpsville. Maryland traveling to Penn State. Let's look ahead. Let's look back. Let's go over this game, what we really could see tomorrow afternoon, and kind of if we should even care to watch. But Maryland 4-7 travels to Penn State 10-1. Maryland 1-7 in the Big Ten. Penn State 7-1. They only lost to Ohio State. They're number 4 in the rankings, as mentioned, number 6 in the playoff bracket. Penn State is a whopping 24.5 point favorite, and you best believe I'm taking that in the over-under at 50.5. It's going to be hammer time. Over the last few weeks against Rutgers, against Iowa, we've seen the end of the Maryland season. We saw the casket close, the casket lowered, the nail in the coffin, and really Saturday, as you can see, I got my all black on. It's basically going to be the dirt on top of the grave, signaling the end to an abysmal 2024 season. 1 conference win for Maryland. That's just not going to get the job done. That's just not acceptable. We just can't have that. We just can't have that. Loxley's going to be back next year. I already know the next question. Should he be fired? He should be let go. He's not going anywhere. So he will be here in 2025. But Penn State leads the series 43-3-1. The Nittany Lions are looking for their first 11-win regular season under James Franklin. He was actually supposed to be the coach in waiting for the Terps, but we kind of know how that fell through. Crazy to think he's been there for 10 years, and they have also a chance to host a playoff game. The Lions could still get the Big Ten championship game. They could get there if Michigan beats Ohio State. Rivalry game, and the Terrapins have lost 4 in a row and are looking to avoid their longest losing streak since 7 in a row to end the 2019 season. We're looking at the Maryland front 7 against Penn State's running game. The Nittany Lions did lose starting tackle Anthony Dunko last week to a long-term injury, but were able to eclipse 100 yards against a tough Minnesota defense. We know the Maryland defense has been just hot dog water terrible. Keep the boo coming. Keep the boo coming. These kids are getting NIL money. I can boo, damn it. They will look to do better against the Nittany Lions. Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen, they have a 2-headed monster there. Singleton and Allen, both juniors, so they both get touches. They both run the ball. They both catch the ball out of the backfield. And, oh, yeah, they find the end zone. Tyler Warren, that's a guy you're going to hear a name about. Really get used to it. Tyler Warren is going to be a guy that you're going to see play on Sundays. He currently has 910 yards, 75 receptions, 5 touchdowns, averaging 12.1 receptions, 6'6" senior, 255 out of Virginia, Mechanicsville. You saw the wonderful catch he had against USC. He's a great blocker. He is a guy that can go up and get the ball at his highest point. Great ball skills, great in the red zone, runs good routes, good hands. You think about Brock Bowers last year, how good he was. He went in the first round. Could Tyler Warren do that? I'm not sure if he's going to go in round 1, but he could be a late 1, early 2nd round pick. He's that good. He's going to probably have a chance to get close to 1,000 yards this season with the game tomorrow, the bowl game, the champ. Well, if they don't make the Big Ten championship, the playoff game, and let's say they get an inferior opponent in week 1, they could probably at least win 1 playoff game, so he can have a chance. To get over 1,000 yards there. So big shout out to Tyler Warren. He is a really good player, and I think whatever Maryland does, they have to contain him in the pass game. He is their weapon if they go through. They want to throw the football. Like I say, he can go short, he can go intermediate, he can go the deep routes, he can do it all. But back to the preview here, you have, as mentioned, also another guy on defense that you gotta look forward to is Mr. Let me go back. Zane Durant. He leads the Big Ten and is 4th among Power 4 tackles with 8.5 tackles for a loss this season. We know the Maryland offensive line has been atrocious, abysmal, lackluster, and just god-awful. And Zane Durant is probably going to have a chance to wreak havoc tomorrow afternoon. But 8.5 tackles for loss, you got to contain him there as well. Ty Felton. Ty time. He's money. Only FBS player with basically he's 2nd in the FBS in receptions. He has 92 catches for 1,097 yards, so he has a chance for a 100 catch season. He scored 9 touchdowns and should be a focal point for Penn State secondary. But Singleton, as I mentioned, is back. He had 19 touches last week, including a career-high 6 catches. Maryland is 2-3 in Happy Valley since joining the Big Ten in 2014 and 2020. Remember that season where they went up into Happy Valley? Rakim Jarrett, speaking of guys who play on Sundays of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, now formerly Maryland wide receiver, 5 catches, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Maryland routed Penn State. They whipped out hammer time on them, 35-19 on the road.
Finish him, Daddy. Finish him, Daddy.
It's crazy because the Maryland 2020 team is better than this team, obviously, and the Penn State team in 2020 wasn't just that good either. So it's a completely different role reversal situation as well. Now, Maryland is 2-3, as I mentioned. Felton has 183 more receiving yards than the next closest Big Ten wide receiver, Illinois' Pat Bryant, and is 143 yards from Marcus Badgett's single-season record in 1992. Penn State has won 7 of the last 8 against Maryland, and the Nittany Lions secured their 27th 10-win season. Warren became Penn State's all-time leader in receptions for a tight end with 1,516 with 102 yards against Minnesota. He had 100 yards against Minnesota, so he could definitely do that against Maryland. And Zane Durant, as I mentioned, leads the Big Ten in 4th with 8.5 tackles for loss. You look at Maryland, they're right at the bottom of the Big Ten. 0-8, 1-10, 1-7 in the conference. Penn State, Purdue 0-8, 4-7 overall. So you're really just the worst team in the Big Ten outside of Purdue. And Purdue's a basketball school, so they don't care about football like that. And who knows? The way Indiana glowed up on everyone, who's to say Penn State doesn't, or I don't know, Purdue win 4 or 5 games next year? Who knows? Like I said, Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, Penn State, Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, Washington, Michigan, USC, Rutgers, Michigan State, UCLA, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Maryland, Purdue. This is going to be a long couple of years for the Terps. I'm hoping Malik Washington and the crew can get it done, but is Maryland better than any of those teams? Like I said, if it wasn't for a block field goal, they don't beat USC. They didn't play UCLA or Nebraska this year, but they lost to Nebraska last year. So I really don't know what this team is going to have in store. I do not know what to expect from this team. As mentioned, it is a 25.5-point spread. 50.5. Take the over. Take the spread. Like I said, Billy Edwards leading them with 2,881 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Boy, has he cooled off. Like I said, I've been asking for MJ Morris all year. We got a good look at him last week. I'd like to see more of him this week because he got one thing he did well. He got the ball to Ty Felton. And like I said, Ty Felton is 8 catches away from over 100. Let's get him over 100. He needs 100 and however many yards to get the record. Let's go get him that record as well. So, like I said, the leading receiver is Warren. Felton is the leading receiver for the Terps as well. Hemby hasn't really had the season I thought he would have. I thought he would have over 1,000 yards, but the Maryland running game has just been terrible all season long. I really don't want to take too much guys' time. Like I said, I have a sense of gratitude for you guys rocking with me for the last 12 weeks, covering this team. We love this team. We want them the best for them. We want them to do well. We're just calling it like we see it. We have to be critical. We have to be honest. We can't sugarcoat it. These guys are getting paid millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do what they love. And they're going to be held to a high standard. They're in one of the toughest conferences in football. And from the top down, from the athletic department's head, Damon Evans, to Mike Loxley, to everyone in between, the players, all of the coaches, this team's going to need an overall. They're going to need to get in a younger, innovative offensive coordinator that can help their young quarterback. They're going to need to get a defensive coordinator that can scheme up a way to cover up a bad secondary, to generate pressure when you don't have a pass rush. We're going to need to look at the special teams as far as maybe do we have the right kicker. There's a massive overhaul that needs to happen this year. I don't want to see the same guys coming back. I don't want to see the same guys next year. I want to see, obviously, you got Ty Felton graduating. You got some other seniors, but with the talent that they hopefully have coming in a top 25 recruiting class, I'm hoping that we can just see just a sense of urgency from a culture aspect. Just being able to play with that intensity, that passion that we've seen in the past. And that starts, like I said, with leadership. They have to be leaders of these young men and get them to, they may only be 2 and 3 stars. You have to get them to play like 3 and 4 stars. You have to get the best out of them. You have to turn a 2 or 3 star and a 4 and a 5 star type of player. And that comes to coaching. And the players got to execute as well. But let's get to the keys to the game. I got a few because it's going to take a lot of keys to beat Penn State, 25.5-point underdogs. But number one, we got win time of possession. I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget them. It was a few, but for the sake of time, I kind of reduced it, but condensed it into one. Win time of possession. You want to limit their possessions. Your defense isn't very good. You got to win time of possession. You got to hold the ball for if you can. We're looking at what? 60-minute game. Can you get over 30 minutes of time of possession? And with that, no turnovers. Doesn't much need to be said there. Don't turn the ball over. Next, don't beat yourselves with stupid penalties on offense. Avoid 3rd and long, basically, because the best way to avoid 3rd and long is to stay out of 1st and 2nd and long in those penalties, like the Ravens. Next, you're going to have to run the football effectively. Rush for over 150 yards. Did you know the Terps have only rushed for 150 yards twice this season? Week 1 against UConn, 248, expected inferior competition. And Villanova, week 4, 159. Again, expected inferior competition. They have struggled to run the football. And if you want to win time of possession, you want to win this game, you got to be able to run the football. And I think you're going to need over 150 yards minimum to even be in the ballpark of this game. Oregon game, Maryland played great. But I think this is the game where, like I said, Penn State's trying for style points. Penn State's trying to make that playoff and make it look good, make the Big Ten championship game. They're going to pull out every stop they can. And just be ready for anything. But offensively, like I said, win time of possession, rush for over 150 yards, less than 5 penalties, I guess is realistic, no turnovers, and convert third downs / stay in third and manageable. And my next one, Ty Felton needs 43 yards to break the record. Ty Felton over 150 yards receiving and 2 or more touchdowns, because he is the best player possibly on the field when he's on the field on offense against their defense. I'll give him that. Ty Felton is big time. I think he's a first or second round pick. But if you get a chance, if he can get over 150 yards, get you 2 touchdowns, break that record, that will go a long way. Get him about 9-10 catches. Get him over 100 catches for the year. Get him that record. That will go a long way. So I need a big game from Ty Felton. And I would also add on to that with Ty, maybe another receiver, Prather, Howard, the tight end, Wade. Somebody else got to catch over 50 yards. Maybe a big reception, a 40, 50-yard gain, a big play to get the offense rolling, a big touchdown. Somebody else has to receive the ball for over 50 yards. Like I said, Prather should be able to. Howard, Wade, we shall see. Defensively, stop the run, hold them under 100 yards. You've been giving up over, 176 per game. That is, let me just make sure I got the right number. 176 per game over your last 4. Got to keep them under 100 yards. Next, get multiple takeaways. You need a forced fumble, a strip sack. You need some interceptions. You need a pick 6. You need something. Get multiple takeaways. Secondary isn't very good. Do they get that? I don't know. Get off the field on third down. You got to get off the field if you want to win time of possession. Get off the field on third down. Tackle well. You got to tackle well. Can't forget that as well. Defensively, less than 5 penalties. That's another key. And no big plays over 20 yards as well. So a lot of keys I just threw at you. No big plays over 20 yards on defense. Tackle well. Less than 5 penalties. Get off the field on third down. Get multiple takeaways and stop them from rushing for over 100 yards. And keep Tyler Warren under 100 yards as well. He may get a couple plays here and there, but keep him under 100 yards. Keep Warren under 100 yards. That goes with tackling well and no big plays over 20 yards. Get off the field on third down. You're going to want to cover him. Stop the run for under 100 yards. Get multiple takeaways. And as always, if you can make, like I said, you want to make them throw the ball to beat you, which probably isn't saying a lot, but you don't want them running the football, controlling the line of scrimmage, dominating the game. You really have no chance. Like I said, Drew Aller, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 24-97. I mean, he's not all that to me. I'm not really a believer in him. But like I said, the running game and the throwing to Warren really, really goes a long way as well. And I think, like I said, they're going to need offensively, as mentioned, rush for over 150 yards. You only did that twice against inferior opponents. No turnovers, less than 5 penalties. Win time of possessions. Third and manageable and convert third downs. And Ty Felton over 150 yards and 2 or more touchdowns. And another receiver or weapon to receive the ball for over 50 yards. Do I see any of that happening? No. I don't really see them converting any of these keys. Are they going to tackle well? I don't know. That front 7 really leaves a lot to be desired. Are they going to get off the field on third down? No. They don't get a pass rush. They can't cover. Get multiple takeaways. They can't even capitalize on takeaways. They need an Indiana-like game defense where they get 3 or 4 turnovers. Stop the run. They haven't stopped the run. Turnovers, they turn the ball over. Run the ball, they can't really get a running game going because the offensive line. I think another key, maybe if you want to keep adding keys, because it's going to be a lot of keys, the offensive line has to play their best game of the season. Hence why rushing for over 150 yards is important. That's pretty much all I got. How do I see this game playing out? I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know how this game played. I'm taking the over. I'm taking them to cover the spread. And really, as I think about it, just sitting here, they're going to probably put up 50 on the Terps. I can see them putting up 50. I'm thinking like 50 to 24. Yeah, I think that's my score. I'm going to go 50-24. I think Terps get a couple garbage time points. I think by the second quarter, midway through the second quarter, this could be like a 24-10, 27-10 game. I don't know. What more do you want from me? I've given you all I have for 12 weeks. I've covered every game. I've recapped it. I broke it all down. I've previewed the games. I've kind of told you how it might play out. But I'm going with the Nittany Lions to pretty much give the Terps their final burial. 50-24 is my final score. They cover, and they get the over. They get the over on their own. Where does the team go from here? I don't know. We got a Malik Washington coming in, 5-star quarterback. You got some recruits who want to play with him, build together. You got the coach. You need to revamp the coaching staff. You need to get some more guys in here through the transfer portal. Get some more NIL dollars. And to win in the Big Ten, you got to win in the trenches. And until they, no matter who the quarterback is, until they fix the offensive and defensive lines, especially that atrocious offensive line, and the defensive line can't get any pressure, it's going to be much of the same old Terps, SOT. But God's favorite host, since the last time you'll see me with Terps football coverage. Of course, we got the Maryland basketball season in full gear. We'll have some content coming out this week for that as they get ready for Ohio State and Purdue. So the Big Ten schedule of basketball getting ready to kick off as Maryland football ends their Big Ten regular season against a Big Ten opponent in Penn State. No bowl season this year for the Terps. Won't be 4 straight bowl years. Just be pain, misery, and what ifs. God's favorite host, only place giving you sports and your Maryland Terps coverage how you want to when you need it. Terps, get ready for the final burial, the ultimate ass whooping. It's just like when you were a kid and you knew that you were doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. And you knew when you got home, you were going to get the belt to the ass. Because there's nothing you can do. It's inevitable. Death, taxes, and Maryland losing on Saturday to Penn State. God's favorite host, man. Make sure you comment down below. Show me some love. What was your favorite video this year? What did you love? What did you not like about the team? Who are your favorite players? Favorite moments? Favorite games? Least favorite games? What do they need to do to move forward to get at least bowl eligible? I had them at 8, maybe 9 wins. They get 4. So, what can you do? Terps, same old Terps. I'm going to keep supporting them. I'm going to keep rocking with them. And you already know. This is a place where you come to get your sports how you want it, when you need it. God's favorite host. I'll see you with more content. I'll recap this game and look forward to the offseason and what needs to happen. But I'm going with the Penn State Nittany Lions, 50-24, giving the Terps the final burial, putting the dirt on the coffin. Casket's already been closed, nails been inserted, casket's been lowered, and dirt is thrown on top tomorrow, 3:30. I'll see you afterwards with recaps and reactions right here on the Flex On Podcast. Only place giving you sports how you want it, when you need it. We'll see if the Terps can pull off a miracle against Penn State in Happy Valley. I'm sure there'll be 60,000, 70,000 people out there tomorrow. What's the weather real quick? Weather's going to be 28 degrees, going to be cold. Oh, man. They may just dominate and run the ball down their throats. But like I said, they're probably going to try to get some style points, try to get some extra points from the committee, look to run up the score, maybe look to create some havoc. Real quick, special teams. Shout out to Brian McPherson and the punter. But special teams, watch out for fakes and take advantage of their special teams. They lack a little bit of special teams. Maybe block a kick, block a punt, return it for points. Good field position, good return in the punt or kick game. Watch out for the fakes. So you got to watch out for that as well with special teams. So we'll see what happens with that. They might pull out all the tricks. They're probably going to go for it on 4th down. So look out for all of those things as well. And we will keep you in tune as we always do right here on the Flex On Podcast. Only place giving you sports how you want it, when you need it. I'll see you for more content back here as Maryland gets ready to face Penn State tomorrow afternoon here on the Flex On Podcast, your home for Maryland Terps coverage.